As I mentioned at the top of the show, my friend Kirralie Smith has lost her court case against two blokes who are suing her because she called them blokes when they think they are women. She's been ordered by the court to pay them $95,000, and part of her punishment is a public humiliation. She dropped by my office this week and told me her story. You won't believe that this is happening in Australia. Well, it's great to have my friend Kirralie Smith here with us. Kirralie, you've had a bit of a rough time. You've been told that you have to pay $95,000 in damages to two men after you lost an appeal in the New South Wales Supreme Court. How are you feeling?
Well, I feel everything really, but a bit bewildered, but also $95,000, $1 million, whatever it is, it's not going to turn men into women. Like it's a nonsense verdict. It's a nonsense payment. And I feel more resolved than ever that the law is wrong and the law needs to be changed, and that the redefinition of the word woman, the redefinition of the word violence, and the redefinition of the word vilification needs to be challenged.
Sure does. So you've spent weeks in court, both in the lower court, I think it was the local court, and then the Supreme Court. Justice Belinda Riggs handed down this definition last Friday. I went and sat in on some of the appeal, and the thing that struck me was Justice Riggs using pronouns that don't correspond with the biology of the two people suing you.
Yeah, look, it's really disorientating when you're in a court of law that is meant to rely on evidence, and at every level, and this isn't just unique to Justice Riggs, the courts have been instructed that they must use the preferred pronouns, and that's the first thing they say when they, take their seats in court, and it is really disturbing to think that I have to swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, and I get reprimanded for using correct sex pronouns in court and out of court, while everybody in court, it's just nonsensical. And when you read a judgment that talks about she, her and miss, but you're actually talking about a man, how does anyone make sense of that? It
doesn't make any sense. Let's go back to the beginning, and I'm going to show you something and just get your reaction to this, but I think this goes to sort of the start of your journey. Tell us about that picture.
I think my face says it all. It's like, I can't believe it. The police turned up at my doorstep, two police officers, very, I feel, embarrassed, mind you, who knew that what they were doing was quite bizarre and quite wrong. They were issuing me with summons to court for apprehension of violence orders and told me that I was under interim orders until I had gone to court for identifying males in female space. Female sport, sorry.
Okay, so anyone watching or listening to this podcast is going to say, what was the violence that you committed that caused two police officers to turn up at your house?
Yeah, there was some images online on football club websites themselves in the public domain, and it was very clearly to me a man receiving an award for a female sporting code, and I asked the to me quite obvious question, why is there a man receiving an award for a female sport? And I reposted that, and that was labelled violence.
Can you say which football club? We're talking soccer.
Soccer. I can say soccer. I can't say the name of the club.
You can't say where, but it was in Australia. It was in the state of New South Wales. Okay, so that's fine. There's reasons why you can't go into too much detail. How long ago was all this?
That was March 2023 when the police turned up. So I became aware of it the 19th of December 2022. I had tried to go through what I think are the normal processes of approaching the club, approaching the regional manager, approaching Football New South Wales and Football Australia. Only one of those people spoke to me and basically said that their policy was anyone, you can register in whatever team you identify with the most as long as you pay your fees.
Right, so you approached the clubs initially, so we're going back to late 2022, so quite a few years ago. Yeah. So it's been a long journey. You got no joy from the clubs, so you did what every citizen should be free to do in a democracy, and you used social media to express a point of view.
Yeah, well, after I'd exhausted all the other avenues, like I really went through and tried to speak face to face, or at least over the phone, with the people responsible for writing the policy. But I am the spokeswoman for Binary. I'm a mother, and that's really important to me, and I have a son and daughters who play sport, and this is how it all arose. But I went through what I believe are the right processes, and then they all failed. So I did take to social media as a registered third-party political campaigner dealing with public policy, particularly in the area of women's rights, and try to arouse public awareness and engage the appropriate people in the appropriate debate.
Well, I would think a lot of mainstream mums and dads would be interested to know whether men who are assuming the identity of women are playing in women's soccer, and what implications that might have for their own daughters' clubs. I'm sure that was upmost in your mind when you made this commentary.
Well, and look, we did know already that Sport had issued guidelines that males should be allowed in women's sport if that's what they feel like. And we know that 9 major sporting codes in Australia had already signed on. And now we have the proof and the evidence that this was happening. We had heard that in codes like AFL, tennis, swimming, athletics, these things were happening. But here was the evidence. And so, again, like I said, I tried to go not in the public domain to begin with, even though the information was in the public domain, but that didn't happen. So we decided to campaign on this and to show the evidence of the policy failure, because that's what it is.
Yes, and you mentioned you're the spokeswoman for Binary. Just explain for our audience who Binary is, for those who may not be aware.
Yeah, Binary exists to champion 3 major things. There's lots that we do, but the 3 major things are women's sex-based rights, spaces, services and sports, because women basically have been erased from law in Australia, child safeguarding in the face of aggressive gender ideology, and parental rights.
Yeah, and for full disclosure, I'm with you in Binary. I'm on your board as the chair of your board, and been involved for a very long time and a great supporter. And I guess for some people who may not be aware, this really came out of the same-sex marriage campaign. The sort of thing that's going on now in terms of the erasure of sex-based rights was something that was predicted as a result of the redefinition of marriage. So this goes back a ways.
Yeah, well, if you redefine one word, you have to redefine other words.